right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So it's episode 13, right? In the New York Jets. Oh, man, we're 4-5 on the season. I didn't think we'd be here. I don't think you thought we would be here either. But Tyson, what's going on, bro? How are you doing?
I'm calmer now than I was. I was pissed, dude. Like, I was angry. I was already on the fire Saleh. I hate Joe Douglas. The team's a mess. Like, I was going down that path. And the Buffalo Bills lost, and it kind of gave me a little bit of glimmer of hope. But I'm like, it's just there's so many problems on and off the field that I'm sure we're going to talk about. That's concerning for this year, and even looking forward to next year. You're kind of wondering too. So I've been better, man. Like I don't like being 4-5 until like must-win games now when you're facing the Bills and Dolphins.
Yeah, for sure. And no, I was catching some of your stream last night, and you were pretty positive. Like, talking about obviously we get the Buffalo Bills next week. They're kind of struggling offensively as well, for different reasons than the Jets,
Yep.
but. It's their record is like the AFC race is tight, man. Like it's just a few games that separate, the top three. New England out of it at this point. But we got Buffalo this week. We got Miami the following week on Black Friday. I think it's a 3:00 kickoff.
Yep.
Weird, but I mean, look, if the Jets could go 2-0, 1-1. Like we're right back in the thick of it.
Yep.
Unfortunately, though, we still have a ton of teams in the AFC winning. Obviously, the Raiders are now 2-0 under Antonio Pierce. You got Houston, you got Jacksonville. Pittsburgh keeps winning games without pretty much any offense. Cleveland, right? Watson's out for the year, but they're not really looking like they're missing a beat. Baltimore, Cincy. I mean, the list goes on. And even though Buffalo is struggling, I'm still not looking at them like, oh, that's an automatic win, or oh, they're done. And I also kind of feel like. I know not everybody might agree with this, but I feel like Buffalo under Joe Brady is going to look pretty different, a lot more aggressive.
Yep.
There was every single Bill fan I've talked to, they're pretty fired up that Dorsey's gone. It's not one of these shocking moves where it's like, what are we doing? It's like, let's go. This is a move that we're making for like the betterment of our franchise. This is like a progressive step in the right direction. So I'm looking at the Jets right now, 4-5, 2-game losing skid. We got to turn this thing around ASAP.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the only reason why I was positive last night was like, this is our last stand. The Jets have nothing else left, dude. This is it. Like you lose to Buffalo, you're done. You're cooked. You lost 3 in a row, 3 conference games. You're going in the wrong direction, and you're not playing good football. So to me, it's like, can they really like? At some point, you got to rally the troops here. Like Saleh's got to rally his team. You got to clean up. Like they're self-destructing. The thing that bothers you most is they're not getting beat. They're beating themselves. And that drives me crazy. The penalties, the drop passes, all this stupid stuff. It's like, come on already. You played like you played terribly against the Giants. The Chargers was dreadful. And last week you gave the game away. At some point, the luck has to go in your favor and you turn things around. And if you don't turn things around, then you're like, what is this head coach? What is this coordinator? What is this general manager? Because the problems you have now, they're alarming because they're doubling down, they're tripling down, they're quadrupling down on Zach Wilson. They're putting all their eggs in his basket, and he's not delivering anything, right? So it's like, all right, this Sunday, like Saleh keeps hinting there's going to be changes, right? I'm sure we're going to talk about Michael Carter and stuff, but to me, it's like the first change is Trevor Siemian, backup quarterback. Enough of this Tim Boyle nonsense, enough babying Zach Wilson because you have no more wiggle room, dude. Like there's no more gray area. You can't be like, well, we're getting close. We're getting close. You don't have any more time left to play this game. Every team is getting close, but they're taking away from you. So this is it, man. Now you're going to learn about the leadership in this locker room, what kind of, how they bounce back. And then, the cutting of Michael Carter, which we can talk about next, to me was a statement thing. It was a statement to the locker room. Like, listen, everybody's a little bit too comfortable. We're going to start holding guys accountable. He's out. We're going to boost Izzy up, right? Which makes sense. We would say get Izzy involved. And I'm sure once they told him that, listen, Izzy's going to be playing more, he may be inactive. He may say, you know what? I want to be cut. I don't want to be here anymore. But that's a move. But what do you think about the Carter thing first? We'll start with that.
I mean, it is what it is. Like macro perspective, you take a step back. I was just talking to my buddy Manny about it literally like 5 minutes ago. I'm like, yo, what did you think of the Michael Carter move? And he's like, to me, it doesn't really make sense. We're the worst offensive football. We're not going to make a change at play caller. Not going to make a change at quarterback. We're not going to sign an offensive lineman. We're going to cut a young player on a rookie contract. Yeah. How is that going to make the offense? Like, I understand wanting to get Izzy in the lineup, but Dalvin Cook, he's the veteran. He's getting paid more. He's the one on a 1-year contract, where Michael Carter was, I believe, getting paid under Like he was on it, like literally a cheap rookie deal, fourth round pick. And you have him under contract for next season. And it's not like Michael Carter was some like draft bust where he's just horrendous and he can't see the field and he's horrible. Yeah, he's had some pretty bad drops. Yeah, he's had some pretty bad games. Yeah, Breece Hall is the RB1.
Yep.
Yeah, and penalties too. But for me, it's like I'm not like if I was asking Saleh, or if I was like an offensive coach, I would be like looking at the roster saying like, okay, I get wanting to upgrade Izzy and get him in the starting lineup. I'm totally fine with that, right? Touchdown machine at Pitt, special teams player, has a lot of speed. Awesome. But do we have to go out and cut a young player on a rookie contract? That's kind of, and by the way, this is also coming a couple of weeks after the trade deadline. Yeah. So to me, it's kind of like, it does feel panicky. Because if the team truly did not believe in Michael Carter and Izzy was just dominating in practice and he was clearly the better back, you could have traded Michael Carter at the deadline for a 7th round pick. I mean, we're seeing what these guys are going for, late pick swaps, 2025 picks, and instantly got picked up by the Cardinals off of waivers. And then I think a report came out suggesting, or I forget who reported, it could have been Jeremy Fowler, Rappaport, one of these guys. They said that a couple of other teams put in claims as well. I forget the two teams, might have been Baltimore. I don't know. But anyway, the point is Carter was wanted. Again, a young back who doesn't really excel in one specific area, but he can do a lot of different things. Still has room to grow. He's 24 years old. I understand why maybe the Jets did it, but I'm not looking at it like, okay, this is the eureka moment. Now our offense is going to be firing on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think there's two things. I think Dalvin Cook showed you something last week where it was like he had 2 good runs, then they took him out. God knows why they did that. He'll be your 3rd down back, which is probably better than Michael Carter. You're getting Izzy involved, which is a good thing, right? Because it's speed, explosiveness. It's also like, I'm old, dude. So like, to me, it's like a Parcells move where it's like, all right, this locker room is a little bit too comfortable. Let's shake the shell a little bit. Let's get them a little upset and say, listen, we're making changes here, man. Either you're with us or you're without us, but this is where we're going. You see, like Mekhi Becton's upset. Everybody's upset about it. And then it's like, and they're going to make other changes too. Like everybody's like, they should have cut Uzama. They should have cut Lazard. They're not going to cut those guys. But what they can do is make him inactive on Sunday. And that's the one point you were mentioning where it's like, you can make Michael Carter inactive on Sunday and have Izzy active and go that route if you wanted to. But I think it was kind of disservice to him. Like, you've been a really good teammate here. You've been a good player. We want to send you out somewhere so you can actually play. Like, you're not going to play here. To have you sit here every week and just be a good soldier, they kind of did him a favor while also sending a message to the team, right? That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I like the way he is, but I'm like, you need to do something here. We need some kind of spark. And now, but you got to do more though. Like, to have, like, the wide receivers now are a mess. You have Garrett Wilson, who's hurt, right? Then you have Randall Cobb, who's inactive. He's not good. Lazard sucks. You traded away Hardman. You have Brownlee's inactive. Irv Charles has been banged up, not really getting opportunities. Like, what are they doing at wide receiver? Gibson's coming on, which is great, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think Gibson's he's looked okay. He's getting in the game offensively, not just on special teams. I think he's looked okay. For an undrafted free agent, like, he's making some plays. But no, I think you're right on. It's like Randall Cobb, not really. It's just like you go through the the depth chart from top to bottom. It's just like, man, we really don't have. Really compared to the start of the season when it's like Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard, and it just seemed a bit different. But now it's just like we're thin, we're beat up. Stacked on top of the offensive line issues and all the different problems that the Jets have offensively. But
they got to make changes. But they got to make like Saleh. Like, I'm fed up with Saleh. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm fed up with him. I'm tired of his press conferences. I'm tired of the way he handles his team. Like, I'm completely down on him. I'm not gonna fake it, right? But this is his week to prove all of us wrong. Like, you cut Michael Carter. Okay, you have Izzy active. Are you actually going to use him, or is this some little nonsense you're doing? Are you going to have Brownlee involved? Are you going to get Ruckert involved? Like, dude, we're fans. We can see where the holes are. Your veteran guys you're always loyal to aren't producing at all. Uzama is a liability at this point. He literally cost you the game, right? Why is he getting more opportunities? Like, in past, you bench a guy like that. That's the way a guy like that should get benched. That should happen Sunday. Ruckert should play more. All these things should happen. If they don't happen, it's lip service. And if you fail because of that, you should be fired. Like, I don't understand this whole thing where it's like, the NFL is a wins and loss business. Like being close doesn't get you anywhere when everybody else is doing more with less, right? Like look at the Texans, dude. CJ Stroud, they're coming on. They're playing good. Kenny Pickett, you mentioned the Steelers. What are they doing there? They're finding ways to win. The Jets are finding a way to lose, and they're justifying it and they're making excuses. And I'm tired of it. So this is your week to clean up all your nonsense, figure it out, and play very good football on Sunday because you've had 3 weeks of pure garbage on offense. It's unacceptable, dude. And for Saleh to say, well, Zach's playing very well, everybody around him has to be better. Zach isn't scoring touchdowns. That's the problem. Like I hate they're babying him now. And I'm like I like Zach. I think he needs to change the scenery in the worst way, but I'm tired of excuses, bro. Like there's a higher standard here. I mean, don't you think Sunday you have to see legitimate changes because your season's on the line? Like, do you think that's fair?
I think it's fair. I think to kind of address your point about Saleh, I'm getting to that point where to me it just feels like it's the end of the Todd Bowles era, where they are like quote unquote players, coaches. They're defensive guys. They're, like you look at the defense. They play like a well-oiled machine. They have young players developing. We have, hidden gems, like late round finds, like, Michael Carter in the slot. Like what an awesome find that was. Yep. Not only just by Douglas there, but then to develop him with Saleh and Ulbrich. Like the defense is great, just like it was under Todd Bowles. Yep. Granted, two different like styles of defense, two different schemes completely. But, then when we start looking at the offensive side of the football, does he develop a quarterback? No. Nope. Does he have any sort of offensive input? No. Does he have any sort of solution or any positive reinforcement, any positive information or data or anything that he gives to the offensive side of the football? No. Doesn't really seem like there's an urgency to maybe change anything offensively. Maybe kind of approaching it with like self-awareness, like, hey, you know what? I don't really know offensive football like that. I know Hackett does, but I'm the head coach of this football team. Let me throw out a suggestion because I can see how the defense is playing, right? I am the guy in charge. I am the CEO. I'm not calling the defense. I have a pretty good pulse on, I have my finger on the pulse of the game. I understand why this team is losing, but, watching them in the press conferences, it's just like the defense makes one small mistake it's just, again, a small mistake. It is what it is. And that gets talked about, but the 15, like all these punts and turnovers and sacks and penalties and all these different drops, red zone failures, third down failures, all these different things. That's just, that gets swept under the rug. And I think that if it continues, that's going to be the breaking point or the straw that breaks the camel's back. Because if you're a defensive player, if you're Sauce Gardner, I mean, he said it after the game, like, we're not playing complimentary football. He was honest. That was blunt, but it's the truth, man. Like, if fans can see it, media can see it, other teams can see it. We can watch the Jets and know what the problems are. We can look at the stats and know what the problems are. Look at where the Jets stack up in the rest of the league and know where the problems are. Why does it feel like the only people that actually don't care about it are the people running the team? That's what drives me up a wall.
Well said, dude. And it's funny because when they didn't score from the 3-yard line, I knew they were losing. I'm like, they're like, when they had the holding penalty, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And then
and then they went backwards. They went backwards because of the penalty. And so it was 1st and goal on like the 14 or 13 yard line.
They ran the ball twice in a row.
And they ran the ball twice in a row. I'm like, you're struggling in the red zone. We struggle on third downs. You are asking for a 3rd and long in that situation. Like, what is the mindset there? It's like that's literally what you are signing up for when you call 2 straight runs. And it's not even a situation where you can pick up a 1st down. It's 1st and 2nd goal from the 10, 13 yard line. It's like, what's the goal? To pick up the 13 yards with the run? Like, no, obviously not. So sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
No, but and that's legitimately the problem with this team. And that's Saleh, because Saleh is not an offensive guy or a defensive guy. He's the CEO of the team. So he sits and listens to all the play calls. He should know them all, right? So you're on the, whatever it was, 13, 14 yard line. When you hear the first running play, be like, listen, dude, what are we doing? Like, you got to be more aggressive. And if he tolerates it, this is his mindset. He's happy kicking field goals. He's not about scoring points, and it drives you crazy. And then the funny thing is, they're like, it's not the play call, it's the execution. And Aaron Rodgers talked about it yesterday, McAfee. Well, there was a good play call, but this wasn't done right, and this wasn't done right, this wasn't done right. You know what that is? That's called coaching. They're not being coached correctly then. They're all making mistakes at the same time. They're not prepared right. That's coaching. But Saleh's mindset is just wrong, dude. It's not an aggressive, like the all gas, no break is nonsense. It's not even true. It's not his mindset on offense at all. So now you have this offense that can't score points, and he gets more and more conservative until they're against the gun and they're down. And then Zach Wilson is running around, throwing the ball downfield. That mindset should be the first quarter. You should be like that. Why are you waiting until it's urgent and panic time to be like that? So dude, I can't take it. You're watching like it's not smart football. It's not good football. And you made a really great point. There is no accountability for the offense, but the defense is like, you know what? We should have had 3 more opportunities to the offense. We made some mistakes on defense. Bro, seriously? You have one of the best defenses in football. It's not being supported by anybody, and you're picking on them. Meanwhile, you know, Zach's throwing a bad interception. He's missing. Lazard's always juggling the football. All these things going on. Like, I'm telling you, if he does not bench Uzomah on Sunday, Saleh's a fraud. He is. And this may sound harsh. I'm not the kind of person that says, you know what, Aaron Rodgers went down, we could tank the season. No, the way the Jets have handled
absolutely not.
The way the Jets have handled this has been embarrassing. Because we've talked about this over and over. They refuse to get a backup quarterback in the offseason. They refuse to get one when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. They have one on Trevor Siemian. They refuse to play him. They're content with this. So if you're happy with playing this and keep losing, then you need to lose your job. So put up or shut up time now. Like, I don't like the way they handle it, dude. And you're right. Sauce Gardner has every right to be pissed off. Like the game like Sunday against the Bills can divide the locker room. If you lose again and you're like, dude, we can't win because of this kid. We can't win because of this. And they're going to start quitting. They're going to start. It's just a matter of time before the locker room's fractured. And you know why we know this? We saw it last year. We just saw this a year ago with the same head coach. So yeah, I'm really frustrated, dude. It's really, really frustrating.
Well, I think too, you know, one of the things that just like it gets under my skin so much is the fact that we're in the middle of year 3 with Robert Saleh.
Yep.
That's, you know, like, and I don't know if you guys can hear like the train
That's
going
awesome.
by. I mean, you talked about the Texans before as like a big time, you know, as a team that's impressing. They're developing. They're a young team. They're exciting. They literally did the same exact thing that the Jets did 2.5 years ago. Yep. Defensive coordinator from San Francisco, similar scheme, pretty much, you know, rookie offensive coordinator who / has to now call plays for the first time, draft a rookie quarterback at number 2 overall and start him out of the gate. Yep. I mean, why are the Texans better than the Jets immediately than we are 2.5 years after we've done everything? And, you know, maybe Stroud is like, you know, the next Joe Montana, who knows? Maybe that's the reason why. Right. But the point is, it's like, look at the
Steelers. Look at the Steelers. Look at the Steelers are doing. The Steelers are a well-coached team. I'm going to cut you off, but the Steelers, look at Kenny Pickett's doing. They're doing enough to win games. They're finding ways to grind it out and win games and make plays. And they all hate Matt Canada up there too, but they're winning games, dude. Like, find a way. Like, the Jets are finding ways to lose. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's like a mistake here, a drop there, a penalty here. And there's, like we were talking about before, there's just no accountability. It just seems like the penalty, like, the worst that's going to happen is, oh, we got to clean that up, or, oh, we just got to wait for it to click or something. I'm like, it's week 11 here.
Yep.
Like I said this in the recap video, like, what are we hoping that it all clicks in week 15 when we're 5 and whatever, 5 and 10, 5 and 11, whatever it is? Like, you know, it's frustrating. Like, if the offense was struggling with, you know, like Aaron Rodgers said, like they're missing opportunities and there's different like shortcomings within each individual play. Yep. Why is this happening in week 11? Okay, week 2, understandable. Week 4, all right, first month of the season. Week 5, week 6, all right, it's a little annoying, but whatever, I'll give it a pass. It's we're months into the season, and it's not like it's not like Hackett hasn't done this before. You know what I mean? It's just like, you look at offensive coordinators, they just, certain ones, right? Ben Johnson with the Lions took off immediately. They fired Anthony Lynn. Dan Campbell took over for that season. Yep. Following year, Ben Johnson, boom, offense explodes. Even Eric Bieniemy in Washington, I think, is doing a pretty good job. Howell's like a young quarterback. He's thrown some pretty bad INTs. He's missed some throws, but man, they just let him go out there and sling it. And he throws they take the good with the bad. Whereas with the Jets, it's like, you know, I understand that Zach isn't perfect and he does miss throws and he does throw interceptions and stuff like that. But like, it's just like, I feel like it's time to cut it loose offensively. What we're currently doing is not working. I feel like we say that every single week. I don't want to sit here and sound like a broken record, but it's about time a change is made. And I'm not talking about cutting Michael Carter. I'm talking about passing play calling duties over to Todd Downing. If we lose against Buffalo, and we're looking the same way that we've done same way that we've looked these past couple of weeks, with tons of penalties and drop passes and turnovers offensively and all these different problems, like a change has to be made. I just don't know how you can just continue. So at that point, we would be 4-6 playing the Dolphins on a short week on Friday. I don't know how you would, like, how do you sell that to the locker room? How do you sell that to fans? Like, okay, another clunker out against a division rival in like a quote unquote must win game. And the opponent is now, and this is a kind of like an underrated storyline that I'm going to be keeping tabs on. How does Joe Brady look with Buffalo's offense? Is this offense going to trend up, or are they going to continue to sink? Because if they start trending upwards, I think that's going to make Saleh kind of just heat everything up, because it's like, oh, the division rival Buffalo Bills that have like Super Bowl aspirations every single season they're not just going to sit idly by and watch the offense just struggle. They are going to make changes. If they can do it, we can do it. We're hoping to be in the playoff mix, in the playoff race. This team in our division is hoping for the Super Bowl. If they can do it, we can do it.
There's no sense of urgency whatsoever. It's like they're all too comfortable. And like you're saying, how do you sell it to the locker room? How do you sell it to your owner? Like, what does Woody Johnson expect out of his team? Like, you're watching this week in and week out, awful football. You have your fans traveling out to Vegas, all spending all this money to go out and support this team, walking away with their heads down, like, I can't believe we lost again. You have an offense everybody's making fun of. Like, how do you sell this to your owner? Oh, so we're getting closer. We're getting closer. You're losing week in and week out. It's not acceptable. Like, somebody's gotta get mad about this. Like, somebody like, you know what we're doing is not working. And then it's like it's a job, dude. If you're not doing well at your job, your boss says you got to improve or you're going to be gone. You've got to show some kind of improvement here. And the thing is like, you made a really good point. The one thing that's driving me crazy about Zach Wilson, it's like they keep saying, well, we got to cater the offense to him. He's been playing since week 1. It's not like this change happened 2 weeks ago. He's in the offense in a training camp. He went through training camp, went through the preseason. It's not like they said, oh, this offense is brand new. It starts tomorrow. No, you're familiar with it. And if you can't run it, guess what? You shouldn't be playing. Like, this isn't rocket science, man. Teams all across the NFL are changing quarterbacks and getting results. Young quarterbacks are getting thrown right to the wolves or finding ways to make plays. Sam Howell's another good example. There's examples all across the NFL. They're throwing for 240 yards, a couple touchdowns. We can't even get over 200 yards. And a touchdown's it's like a miracle at this point.
Dude, look at the quarterback who just beat us.
A rookie.
Aiden O'Connell. 4th round pick, Aiden O'Connell. With an interim head coach. By the way, Pierce outcoached Saleh.
100%.
Man, I mean, and by the way, I don't even know if we talked about. Go ahead. Go. No, I was just gonna say, I don't know if we talked about it on the last podcast episode, but I'm like, I want Saleh to take a page out of the Pierce playbook. Right when Pierce took over, he hit his like interim opening press conference and said, "This is my team. Changes are going to be made. The stuff that was going on with Josh McDaniels and this and that, not going to fly." And what do? He said, pretty much, we're not going to care about contracts. We're not going to care about personalities and egos and names and everything like that. We care about football. Best players are going to play.
Yep.
The rookie 4th round pick, Aiden O'Connell, looks like the best quarterback in practice. He's playing my team. Nothing you can do about it. Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy that they just brought in on a 3-year, not necessarily big money deal, but they invested money into him. He's going to be on the bench. Why? Because he's not getting it done. He's turning the ball over too much. The players have responded to Antonio Pierce. They're 2-0. But you listen to them in the locker room, you listen to the Raiders in their interviews and whatnot. Everybody is rallying behind Antonio Pierce. And I think a big reason because of that is because McDaniels was, sinking with the ship, not doing anything to kind of correct it. It's his way or the highway. And it's like, if you are Saleh and you're looking at the offense, it's just like, man, do we have any real redeeming qualities? Do we even have an identity? We're in week 11 and we have no idea what we're good at. We're still making rookie mistakes. We're still being flagged 7-8 times a game. We can't throw the ball we won't throw the ball down the field. We can't establish a running game. This is inconsistent quarterback play. We can't protect the quarterback. We have injuries all over the place. We got guys dropping passes. It's like, how is it this much of a mess offensively? And again, I don't want to come off as like,
No,
me
it's
just
the
sitting here
truth.
complaining and stuff,
It's
but
the truth.
it's the truth.
Bro, they were outcoached on Monday night. They were outcoached because you look at O'Connell, he's throwing the ball downfield, right? That's what he was doing. I mean, Sunday night, I'm sorry. But he's throwing the ball downfield, vertical shots to Devontae Adams. And then all those short yardage, they had end arounds. They had misdirection plays. The 3rd and 1, they're spreading out there. They're getting 10, 12 yards on it. They literally outcoached us because they're more creative, more diverse. They're not predictable like we are. Ian, I can tell you what. We stream the games. I'll have a couple drinks, joke around. I can call the plays, dude. I know, like, and then it's on 2nd and 1, we run it, don't get it. 3rd and 1, don't get it. What are we doing? Like, you can call, like, when Zach audibles certain things, like, there's certain audibles, dude. I could be 10 beers in. I know exactly what the play is. I can tell you exactly what the play is when the audible is. 9 out of 10 times, the audible is a running play to the left. It's where it's going to go, right? You see it. And it's like, and then you watch all these other offenses, and you're like, how are they doing this? It's an interim head coach, a rookie quarterback, and I had such blind faith. I'm like, this is a game where Saleh should flex their muscles a little bit. They're gonna be more prepared. There's a bounce back game for the Jets. You're facing a rookie quarterback. You're not going to lose to him, and their offense looked better than ours. I'm like, how is this possible? It's just wild, dude. Like, I never in a million years thought we'd be here, and the way they're handling it is bothering me. And now it's like, now it's going to get ugly because if you lose on Sunday, and I hate to be negative, but if they do lose on Sunday, you're not going to question Saleh and Hackett. You're going to look at Joe Douglas too, because this roster is very, very flawed. A good quarterback can hide a lot of things. When you have a quarterback like Zach, it exposes all of your warts. That's why you need to bring somebody else in. And the point that I hate the most is like, well, he's playing okay. The bottom line is you're not scoring points, and the team has no life or energy on offense. They only have life and energy on offense when they're losing by 10 points and they're throwing the ball over the friggin' place. Right? Like, and like, not to keep going back to Mike White, but this is my reference point. When he came in last year, it was instant energy. You felt it. You saw it. It was tangible. He didn't win all these games, but the offense was running a lot more effective and a lot smoother. Same situation this year. The offense is stagnant. They're lifeless. Zach has improved as a quarterback. He went from being terrible to mediocre. That's improvement, but it's not good enough right now. So if your team needs a spark, how does it hurt to put Simeon in? How does it hurt, dude? And it's like, and to me, it's like Sunday should be a short leash game. If they have one of these other first halves where he's got 80 yards passing and they have 3 points and you're on the verge of getting blown out or losing the game, you got to pull him. Listen, man, we love you. We've supported you. Enough of these confidence talks. It's about winning now. We need to win this game. And if they don't do that, Ian, I tell you, this show next week, I'll be off the rails because you truly have to, you have to worry about you'll realize this team has no direction. They have no leadership. They don't care about winning. That's exactly how I would feel then.
Yeah, I know we kind of talked about it off air. It does sound harsh, and obviously it's not the case. But it's like, does Joe Douglas care about win? Like, do they care about winning if nothing changes? And I think, just to kind of play devil's advocate to your point about Zach Wilson, I think the main argument against against pulling him is Zach is not the one committing all these penalties. Zach is not the one dropping passes. Zach is not the one that is, forcing CJ Uzomah to wrap Crosby around the neck on the goal line and push him back 15 yards. And we can talk about all these different drops and whatnot. So it's like, okay, if you put Simeon in, the majority of the problems of the offense are still going to be taking place. But I see. Go ahead.
That argument will work for the Raider game. The 2 games before that, the Chargers and Giant game, that argument wouldn't work at all. The Giant game, he was terrible the Giant game, he got lucky as hell because he played awful. The Charger game, he wasn't good either. The Raider game, he played better than he has been playing. So your argument works in that one. So it's like, all right, if they're moving the ball and self-destructing, it's not really on him. But if it's one of those games, you'll know, dude. You know the first quarter when Zach's off. When he's sailing passes and he looks like a deer in headlights, he's running backwards, taking sacks. If that's happening, you got to take him out, dude. You have to. Because how do you look yourself in the face at halftime to your team? You have 3 points and 80 yards passing. You're not going anywhere. Yeah, go back out. They're not going to, how do you explain it? Like, sometimes when you're going to get the ball, you're going to run your route every time as hard as you can. When you know things are going to happen. For sure. When you know it's not going to happen, like Lazard's doing it now. He's mailing in routes, dude. You saw it, the one deep pass. He eased up 5 yards before that. Like, they're not, they don't buy into the system. They're not buying into him. They try, but they're like, all right, not coming. And that's where your lack of preparation, your mental capacity is not where it should be. But if you know the offense can run a higher level, you play harder. It's just, we've seen it, dude.
Dude, one thing that's been crazy, man. Like, so after this Raider game, I was talking to a couple Broncos fans, and they're like, bro, in your like as a fan base, right? As a Bronco fan base, we were literally saying the same exact things last year. Quarterback production, offensive line struggles, wide receivers getting frustrated, no accountability offensively. It just looks like a complete and utter mess. And I'm like, it sucks, man. It sucks. I want to see a change. I'm not saying fire Hackett tomorrow, or fire Hackett after the Bills game, but at least move play calling duties.
Yep.
To me, it's just no excuse. Like, the game today is tailored towards offensive football. The NFL wants offenses to score points and wants more stars at the quarterback position, and they don't want them getting tackled. And, corners can't touch wide receivers now, right?
Yep.
All these different things. It's crazy. It's truly crazy. You look at all these different offenses. I mean, the Vikings with Josh Dobbs, the Indianapolis Colts with Gardner Minshew.
Yep.
That's another thing. Another team rather. So it's even PJ Walker too with Cleveland.
Yeah.
So,
dude, it's like they have two choices. It's either the quarterback or the coordinator. That's all it is. Something has to change. If you don't want to change the quarterback, change the coordinator. And the funny thing is, it's like, well, it's Aaron Rodgers' guy. Well, Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. He's also not your head coach, and he's not your general manager. He's your quarterback, and he's not here right now. So don't not make a change to offend Aaron Rodgers. I don't care about him right now. It's about winning the game, and your offense is horrendous. So if you have this much faith in Hackett, then you know what you got to do? You've got to change the quarterback. That you have to do something, dude. Right? It just seems like it's one or the other. There's only two changes you can make other than doing benching players. But the other thing too is what we have really talked about is special teams has been struggling too with Hardy out. Special teams, the Jets could bank on great defense, great special teams. Now special teams starting to slow down, it's starting to give up more returns, give up little yardage there too, where it's all right, who are the gunners now? All these little facets are starting to slowly melt, and then it all comes back to Joe Douglas again. All right, what did you do to fix this? It's like a big ball rolling down the hill. We're just picking up more and more grass and more dirt to become a bigger ball. You know what I mean? That's where I kind of feel like it's going. And how do they stop it? They've got to find a way.
Yeah, and another thing too, it kind of feels like this season is, if it continues down this path, it's like the coulda, shoulda, woulda. We should have brought in a veteran after Rodgers got hurt. We should have added to the offensive line. Whether it's a Lyle Collins who's still out there. Yep. And where the Jets' problems on the offensive line, the right side, that's where Lyle Collins is. That's where he would be playing. Whatever. Again, this is kind of like a hindsight thing, but maybe we should have pulled play calling duties from Hackett. Maybe we should have pulled Zach Wilson earlier. Maybe we should have been playing Ruckert more for early on in the season. Just stuff like that. Maybe we should have played Izzy early on. Yep. It has that kind of feel to it. And, you're talking about special teams being good, not great.
Yep. And
now all of a sudden, we're starting to see chinks in the armor. Yep. It's to me, that's just an indictment on how bad the offense is, because it's okay, we need the other two out of the three sides of the football to be playing at an elite level for us to be competing in games or to be winning football games. That should not be an excuse. The offense, again, in this day and age, should be carrying teams.
Yep.
Not be so bad to where it's all right, well, the defense is playing great out of their mind.
Yep.
And the special teams unit is playing pretty good. They're not great, but they're playing pretty good. And we're still losing against, the rookie quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, and the interim head coach, and Antonio Pierce, when we're supposed to be, shooting for the playoffs.
Yep. No, I agree, man. It's right now, it's we're still in the season, so I'm have this just hope that the Jets win on Sunday. I'm just praying that they win this game to keep us relevant and keep us in it, because if not, as fans, you're all right, we're not going to the playoffs. What are we going to look at? We're going to look at, how do we get into this mess? And it's going to be front and center on Joe Douglas. 1,000% falls on him, because as an organization, their decision was Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to have Zach Wilson be a backup quarterback, when every person with two eyes knew that he should have sat out this year. He should have never in a million years been the backup quarterback. But the thinking was Aaron Rodgers will never get hurt, but he's going to mentor him and help him, and he'll be good. He wasn't good, and he hasn't been good. And that decision alone cost them where they're at right now. That's a big mistake. And then the Dwayne Brown thing, we can go on and on. The decisions they made, they took a lot of calculated risk, and a lot of them didn't pay out. A lot of them didn't. And they look at all the guys Aaron Rodgers brought in, all his little buddies he brought in. How many of them are contributing right now? None of them. Out of them, right? They're either hurt or they suck. Great. More bad decisions. So the more you start losing, the more you start saying, okay, how do we get here? Okay, we figured out we make bad decisions. And how do we get out of it going forward? And that question is going to be interesting because it's like, all right, the Aaron Rodgers factor then too. Like, does he want to come back if Saleh's not the coach or if Hackett's not here or whatever else? But, dude, this team is in a weird spot because if this season goes off the rails and they win 6 games on the year, do you tell this fan base, that's fine, man, don't worry about it. Aaron Rodgers coming back. We're going to bring the same group we have this year. We're going to bring him back next year. You can't sell me on it. You can't. Saleh, you love Rodgers, but you want another year of Saleh Hackett doing this nonsense?
I just don't know how you can sell that to fans.
You can't.
You know, it seems like that's the goal because it seems like for whatever reason, the main topic about this team is Rodgers coming back, or like, you know, how the Achilles is doing and stuff like that. And I get it. It's an exciting thing. It's cool seeing him throw the football around, but it's like, we're sitting here losing games in the meantime. Exactly. What's the point of putting Rodgers in if we have 6 wins and what are we going to roll him out behind this offensive line? Ooh. Like, I'm with you, man. Like, Rodgers going down 4 plays into the season does not give Saleh a 17-game pass.
100% agree.
It just doesn't, dude. Like, this is the NFL. This is not high school football or whatever. This is the National Football League. What does that say about team building? What does that say about Joe Douglas's 4 draft classes and his 6 first-round picks?
Yep.
You know, if one player and granted, great player, first ballot Hall of Famer, obviously losing Rodgers hurts, right? But for him to get hurt, look like we did, and then for us to, on top of not looking good, not do anything about it, not look to improve the team, not make a trade, not do whatever. Actually, the only trade we make is subtracting a player for a 2025 6th rounder. So really pumped about that move. That's the move that's supposed to, or adding Roger Saffold to the practice squad 5 minutes after the deadline. Like, that's the move that's going to really set this team apart. Right. It's just, we better win on Sunday, man. If we don't, this next episode is going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy. And it's like, the owner is tone deaf. The team is tone deaf. Like, when they tweet out Saleh's quote, like, we're making some mistakes, but if we clean these up, we'll be pretty good. Like, what are we doing here? Like, they're too comfortable. Like, and like, they seem like they made all this money on the uniforms, and Aaron Rodgers come here. They sold all these jerseys. They got all this hoopla. They sold all these tickets. And now it's kind of falling apart. And like, you know what? These suckers will deal with it this year because Rodgers is coming back next year. But the thing is, we're not suckers. We know a bad product when we see it. And the fact of the matter is, this offense is not competitive. And if they were losing 31-30 every week, playing high-flying football, and they're just a little, like, just miss out on that, like, all right, no, they played great, but they came up short. Justin Herbert threw for 400, we threw for 380, whatever. Like, if they were competitive, you just lost to a rookie quarterback. You almost lost to a team at -9 passing yards. Like, that, I'm telling you, that Giant game was the game, dude. If they lost that game, we would have been scorched earth. Since then, they got lucky they won that, but now they're back going that same path again, where Sunday is a big day for them, man. It is. They've got to figure this out because you can't get past it for constantly losing and accepting it. Like, they're just, all right, there's next week, pretty soon. No, there's no more pretty soons. And I don't know, man. And the one thing that's really bothering me now, because I know, like, right now everybody's like, oh, you know, the Bills are going to be pissed off because they lost and they fired their coordinator. The Jets should be pissed off. They've just lost 2 in a row, and their season is on the line. Like, you want to see a team coming out on Sunday pissed off. Like, we're angry, we're tired of being pushed around, and we're tired of losing. And you get their best effort of the season on Sunday. If they come out timid, flat, slow, and passive, like they did last year with the season on the line, that's on the head coach, right?
Yep.
Like that Jaguars game on Thursday night was embarrassing. The game in Seattle, embarrassing. They do that same thing in this Sunday where they're lifeless and they get their doors blown off because of lack of effort. They look unprepared. That's on the head coach, dude. And that's 2 years in a row. You have to go. You literally have to go. Like, you're not because you have this young core here. You have guys you want to keep. Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. You know what they want to do other than make money? They want to win. And you're not establishing a winning culture here. You're establishing a culture of accepting losing all the time. So,
yeah, and justifying it, and
always.
You know, one excuse after another, and for some reason pointing the blame at the strength of the team, right? When you think about the Jets, whether you're a Jet fan or not, you think about good defense. You think about pass rushers. You think about Gardner and Reed. Big hitters at linebacker, Mosley, Quincy. You don't think about Zach. You don't Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, but if we're just being realistic, those two are really good players, but it's not like we've seen, Breece Hall hasn't had that crazy season yet. Garrett Wilson hasn't had that. They're almost looked at as Ferraris in the garage that we just don't have the keys to. We can't unlock their potential because they're pretty much the only thing we have offensively. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. We have to look better on Sunday. It's just the bottom line, and it's also kind of it's kind of like a microcosm too, because the Buffalo Bills, again, they made their change. They fired Dorsey. They're not settling for losing games and being discombobulated and confused offensively and turning the football over. It's like, hey, this season so far, it's starting to slip through our fingers. We can't really afford that. We're going to make a move. And you look at it, you look across town, look across the division of the Jets. It's like, where's that same sense of urgency? I saw, some fans like non-Bills fans roasting Buffalo, oh, Ken Dorsey at one point was an up and comer. Why are they getting rid of him? It's Buffalo is I personally, I can respect what Buffalo is doing, understanding what the position that we're in right now, because it's man, and I'm not saying we got to fire Hackett. I'm just saying, can we switch something up? Can we bring in Lyle Collins tomorrow? Can we change play calling duties? If one area of the offense is struggling, can we acknowledge it, please? Is that too much to ask for? It's ridiculous.
And I got two scenarios for you that completely drive me crazy. Now I'm nitpicking because I'm just angry about this stuff. The end of the game, I think it was Conlon catches the ball with 20 seconds left.
Okay.
Saleh doesn't get the timeout till 7 seconds later. Does that happen to any other coach in the NFL? And he said he threw his headset and he was chasing the ref and he didn't get the timeout. How in that moment do you not get a timeout? Dude, I do not understand it.
That's another highlight of the Bowles era, the time management.
Exactly.
Dude. Time is winding down. We have 2 timeouts, just not using them, or having 3 going in halftime. What are we doing? Clock management. I don't get it. I mean, it's not the reason why we lost, I don't think, but it's just another, it's another, it's another thing that you can chalk up where it's just what are we doing here? It's just another blunder. But what was the second?
I'm on a roll, dude. Because and it's funny because for those of you listening to this, last night I did a show on our channel, and I was the optimistic Jet fan. I'm listen, things look down. I'm but we win on Sunday. We're gonna turn it around. And then I was
that's what I thought I was getting tonight.
Yeah, and I
was gonna make a joke I'm finally the negative one.
And it was funny because everybody's Ian's so negative. I'm F Ian. I'm we don't need Ian. We're positive Jet fans. And now, but I keep thinking about the things that make me crazy because it's it's just incompetence. So you have the not getting a timeout and it's oh, it's only 7 seconds. That's another play. You throw the ball at the 20-yard line. It changes everything. The other thing is they did a great trick play, dude. I love the play call where they rolled Garrett Wilson out. But the problem is Garrett Wilson was hurt. He hurt his friggin' arm. So Saleh, when they asked him, he's well, the sideline, it's kind of communication is on the sideline. They didn't know the extent of his injury or whatever it was. It didn't get to him. And yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but he could handle it. What? How do you not know if the player's hurt or not? If he's hindered, don't call that player. Have somebody else do it. I'm sure, have Lazard throw it to Gibson or whatever. You can figure it out. But it's things like that where they come off disorganized. They're just not. They're not on the same page and they're not prepared. They have an idea of what they want to do, but they're just not very good at it. Right? They should know. If Garrett Wilson's hurt, all right, we all know. All right, Wilson's banged up. We probably shouldn't call a play for him right now because his arm's banged up. Right? Or am I just being over the top negative right now?
No. It's fair point because, all these different, and I think that's a part of the problem here with the Jets offense. It's not one player. It's not one coach. It's not one play. It's not one, game plan. It's a myriad of different things.
Yep.
And they all add up. And at what point is the scale just going to break? When's the tipping point going to arise? And it definitely does feel like Hackett, this Jets offense it's they're playing checkers while the Raiders offensive coordinator is playing chess, right? And it's like I'm with you. I thought the Raiders called a great game.
Yes,
Left,
absolutely.
right, misdirection, putting guys in motion,
Yep.
feeding multiple wide receivers the ball, getting the ball out of Aiden O'Connell's. I thought we were going to absolutely dominate O'Connell.
Me too.
Not because I think he's bad. I actually like him. He kind of reminds me of Nick Foles a little bit, like a big, strong arm, pocket passing, 6'4" type of QB, like could just stand in there and look over the offensive line. But I was looking at like the lack of mobility and our ability to kind of just collapse the pocket on top of him. I thought that's what we were going to do all day. But no, I mean, of course he didn't play perfect football, but man, like you just look at how the game was called. It just looks, like you said, disorganized. I think when you just watch in one thing too, I'm curious, with other fan bases, it's like when you watch the Jets on primetime football, maybe outside of that Chiefs game, but like that Raiders game and even the Charger game, like I wonder what fans are like sitting there watching at home. Like, what are they thinking about? What are they talking about? Like from from an objective, unbiased point of view, like how the Jets offense is running compared to the opposition. The Raiders, to me, again, they weren't perfect or anything like that, but it just looked like a well-ran offense. That they had a feel for the game. Whereas the Jets is just like, all right, let's just call this, see if it works. Doesn't work. All right, let's just we'll call this one. Doesn't work. Well, how about this one? That's what it kind of feels like.
Until they're losing by a lot, until they get down big and they got to start, they got to do the hurry up and stuff. But the thing, what makes it like, this seems like a simple thing to do. You have Aaron Rodgers, a phenomenal football mind. He's a student of the game. Like he could break down a play inside out and backwards. Like you have him and Zach. You sit there and you be like, listen, here's the plays that we known after the last 9 games aren't going to work. They're not going to work. Take them out of the playbook. Let's not call them ever again. Let's not be predictable. Run, third and long pass. This isn't going to work either. The screen pass to Breece Hall. Teams have figured that out now. Like teams they scout your offense. Like it's like almost like they get caught off guard. Like, listen, you're very predictable now. Here's what Zach loves to do. Let him call these plays. Let him do this. Like change your mindset a little bit, right? Like you got to do something else. Like it doesn't seem like it's not dramatic changes. What works, what doesn't, change it, move on. And Zach has a big say in it. Listen, you're calling these plays. I don't feel comfortable with it. We can't keep forcing this out. It's not working, right? Like, it doesn't work for him. And you see when he flourishes. You saw it on Sunday. He used his legs perfectly. He was an asset running the ball. Call RPOs. Do different things. Let him be the athlete that he is to score points. And if you don't want to let him do that, then why is that? Because you're too conservative. That's a coaching mindset that's hurting your team, right? It just seems like it doesn't seem like this is rocket science anymore.
Yeah, no, and as you were talking, I looked up when did Nathaniel Hackett like actually get fired? Like at what point in the season? And it was in week 15. So in other words, we saw 15 weeks of the same exact thing from a Denver Broncos offense that had talent, but there was just, again, the lack of accountability, lack of quarterback production, lack of, and it's funny too, because Russell Wilson, not really trying to compare Zach and Russell, but when you look at where Russ had success in Seattle, it was like outside the pocket. It was, run game working, pull it back and play action, step up into the pocket or roll him out to the outside, bootlegs and everything like that, firing the ball down the field. Russell Wilson always had he had great touch on the deep ball. And you look at Zach Wilson and obviously, Russ has the mobility and whatnot. Zach has the mobility. He has the arm strength. That's kind of where, and we always talk about it. That's where we like to see Zach have success, or that's really where he has, pretty much the only success, using his legs, really showing off the arm strength. And we just don't really do it. And we saw that last season with Denver. And I was talking to one buddy, Rich. He said that, Hackett wanted Russ to be a drop back passer. And there was just not, it was kind of like, this is my system. This is how we did things in Green Bay. And, you're a really good quarterback and we just have to iron it out. And then the second Hackett got fired, that's when all of a sudden you saw the Broncos offense start to, perk up a little bit. So it's, unfortunately ironic because he's here and we're seeing the same thing where it's just, okay, again, just the laundry list of problems. So it's, I thought he was going to learn his lesson, after getting fired, not even one season into the 4-year contract or whatever it was, maybe be a little less hard-headed on the system and maybe the approach to games and stuff. And even if you aren't sure about something, this is something else too that I've been thinking about. Even if Hackett doesn't really feel comfortable calling a game a certain way or game planning a certain way, at least try it. It's almost like the Seinfeld episode with when George is like going against everything that like he naturally wants to do and everything starts working out for him. Like that's that. I'm at the point where like I'm telling Hackett like that's your homework. Watch that episode. Like that's where I'm at.
You know, and the one thing I will say is like you almost want to see another quarterback in this offense to see if it's the offense or if it's the quarterback. Like, just say Simeon comes in and starts scoring 20 points a week. You're like, all right, it was actually Zach. The offense is functional. Zach is just this bad. But if Simeon comes in, or like you just want to see somebody else run this offense, because like we all thought LaFleur was terrible. All of a sudden, Mike White comes in, there's 400 yards a week. You're like, all right, it's not really the offense. We have playmakers. This actually offense will work. It's the quarterback. That's the only thing with Hackett where it's like, all right, is Zach hindered this much where they can't really, it can't be like a functional offense. You know what I mean? That's the only caveat I think in this point. But the game management and the adjustments, the scripted plays, you're like, dude, this is not good football. Like we've seen this, and the similarities of the whole Todd Bowles things, it's alarming at this point. So, you know, I'm right now, I'm going to take the stance where I'm just going to have blind faith and be like, this team is going to rally and find a way to win on Sunday because we have nothing else to lay our hats on. Like you can't, like doing a game preview, you can't even, like, how do you talk about the offense? You say it and you laugh like, yeah, you know what? They're going to do this, they're going to do that. And like the offensive line actually played better against the Raiders. But the problem was it's not a very good Raiders defense. They have Max Crosby, but it wasn't like you weren't facing Bosa and Mac. You weren't facing all these guys. So it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like they had success, but it wasn't a great defense. I think Buffalo will be a lot more aggressive because they want to smack Zach around, you know? But
yeah, and get back at him for week one.
Yeah,
you know, that embarrassment from their end.
And Saleh, you know, on Josh Allen.
Yeah, and even too, like Joe Brady having an interview for the Jets and him not getting the job and his first opportunity since he got fired back in Carolina. Yep. I think the players for the Bills offense are really gonna, you know, approach this game like, hey, we're gonna light them up. Like we're gonna, you know, balls to the wall, 4 quarters. Like we're just gonna tee off on them because they just got embarrassed just like the Jets. They just got embarrassed on primetime football against Denver. So. You know, they're to me going to come out guns a-blazing, but yeah, no, it should be interesting.
So is this like must win or season's over kind of game you think on Sunday?
Not must win, the season's over. I think it's must win for locker room commitment. Like if you lose this game and it's the same, well, I guess I'll preface it by saying this. It depends on how the Jets win or lose.
Yep.
Like if it's a game like the Giants game, I'm not going to have like a ton of faith moving forward. I'll take the win for sure. But you know, if the problems are still there, the problems are still there. But if like we were kind of, or like you were talking about before, if it's like a shootout or if it's like a close defensive, you know, match or something like, you know, a close defensive game and the Jets offense like looks just more competent.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I guess you can kind of compare it to like the Chiefs loss.
Yep.
I won't be as upset because it's like, okay, at least there are some, you know, there is a silver lining. There are a couple bright spots. But no, if we have another repeat against the Raiders or against Buffalo, like we looked against the Raiders or the Chargers or whoever, and then Saleh hits the press conference and says no changes will be made again, I think at that point, the defense is going to sell. They're going to be like, what's the point, man? Like we're literally playing at an elite level and it's literally being wasted.
Yeah.
And nothing is being done about it. AKA coaching staff, organization, front office, they don't care about winning.
Yep. I think they're fractured now, and I think that'd be the final nail in the coffin. Like a bad performance on Sunday, that'll be the final one. Like they'll get blown out versus Dolphins, and then it's going to spiral completely out of control. That's kind of where I'm at. Like it's just I kind of think it's a must win. Like I guess you're right. They lose a very close game, but they're really, really competitive. Like all right, they fought, they figured out Buffalo's a better team at this point. Now Miami's a must win. Then your season's definitely over, but. I don't know. It's interesting, man. Like, when was the last? Because, like, what's funny is everybody considers you probably the most positive, like, Jet fan, like, in terms of doing content creation. Like, everybody's like, dude, I talk to so many people that talk about you to, like, Ian's so positive. He's got great energy. He's got great content. And then this week, everybody's like, dude, they're starting to break him, man. He's starting to get angry and mad. And I'm like, he's a good guy, man. It's like we're all frustrated. When was the last time you were this frustrated with the team?
It's tough, man. Because in the Gase era, I knew that was going to be a disaster, as did every Jet fan, right? I remember literally seeing that notification that the Jets hired Adam Gase. That was back in my old place. And I think I might have like just Gronk spiked my phone. Like I was so pissed, man. I was so mad. And everybody, but like that's every Jet fan, right? So, you're watching the team and you're just kind of waiting for the next coaching change. As horrible as that sounds, like it's just, that's kind of how I felt. Despite us somehow having 7 wins in Gase's first season. So I would probably say the end of the Todd Bowles era for sure, because it's like Darnold wasn't really like, it was just a weird season. And it was just year after year after year of Todd, of just the same things, can't figure out anything with the quarterback position, having offensive line issues. At the time we were fine to tackle. We had problems on the inside with like guard and stuff. I'm like, we're taking years here to figure out guard. Like what is happening? And also too, like during that, I also felt like we weren't really, like, I understand, we brought back a lot of guys too, like, some veterans, but it was just so weird. And I like Bowles, I didn't mind the hire. I'm a big fan of his defense and stuff like that. But I would probably say the end of the Bowles era is like, I was just so fed up, so frustrated, because we knew what we were going to get: a good defensive performance. We're going to take the football away get after the quarterback and, make plays defensively. But the offense is either going to do just enough or not do enough, and we're going to lose. And that was just going to be the Jets' identity. And it never really seemed like there was ever going to pick up like that was just that. Like we were not getting, that was our ceiling, and we kind of reached it. And now I'm kind of feeling like the same way.
Me too.
Where it's like, I don't know, man. It's been tough. And again, dude, like, I don't want to keep harping on it, but the reason why I'm so frustrated is because Douglas has been here for years. Saleh has been here for years. Why are we still having like identity crisis issues? Like we can't figure out anything offensively. I understand we have a new offense coming in, and of course, the plan was to roll with Rodgers, but it's like one thing happens and the entire 17-game season goes down the drain like that, and you have 2 great units in special teams and defense, and we still are struggling to stay afloat within the conference. Come on.
No, I'm in the same boat you are, because like it's the end of the Bowles era for me too. I was just really pissed off then, because you see the potential, right? Like this defense is elite. It's that good. And you watch them lose to the Patriots. You watch them lose, and you look at the AFC, it's up for grabs. If the Jets could score 20 points a week, they probably have 3 more wins. We'd be laughing right now, like, oh, we're going to the playoffs doing this. Like, And that's what's so frustrating is they have such an opportunity in front of them, and they're choking it away. Literally choking it away, week in and week out, doing the same thing. And it's like, I just can't do that, because Saleh's first year here was like, oh, it's his first year. We knew they're going to suck. We let them lose. Last year, like, all right, they started out good, then they fell apart at the end. Not really tolerate that, but okay, whatever. Third year, listen, like this rebuild can't be 12 years. Like at some point, you've got to show progress, and you've got to overcome adversity and win games and show direction. And like you said, it can't be Rodgers is down. Oh, that's it. We're done. 17 games. See you guys next year while I raise ticket prices. But no, it's not the way it should be. It can't be like this. And that's why my frustration is you watching the Bills lose. Like the Jets have gotten a golden opportunity this Sunday to turn this around. They really do, man. Like you go 5-5, your world is opening up back in front of you. You go to MetLife on Friday, the crowd would be crazy. You beat the Dolphins, and dude, your whole season changes. This is your last, to me, it's like your last stand. Like this is it. You've been given a gift from the NFL to stay relevant. Do you take advantage of it? And if you don't, like last year, then it's like, this is an indictment on your entire organization. That's the rise.
Yeah, for sure. I think seeing how the team comes out Sunday is huge. Like that is literally going to mirror what the feeling is, what the vibe is within the locker room. If we are lifeless and we're flat, I think it's going to say that's where we're at as far as the locker room goes. But if we come out, firing and, flying around the field and making a statement and, making plays and stuff, I think we kind of have that fighter's attitude, which is obviously what we're all hoping for here. But it should be a crazy game. I'm expecting it to be close. Josh Allen has always struggled against Saleh's, or I guess Ulbricht's defense. And it's not just, the week one, and we can go back to last year and stuff like that. Like Josh Allen has always had a difficult time. It just seems like he gets rattled and confused in the back end and, stuff like that. But again, who knows? Buffalo, they made their OC change. Maybe something looks a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, I have, if anybody watched our show last night, this is the kind of game the Jets win. When we doubt them, we hate them, we want everybody fired, right? Because think about it. Right now we're all out. Like Sunday night, dude, lucky we didn't talk on Monday, dude, because you probably wouldn't be able to control me. But it's like, we're down, fire everybody, we suck, season's over. The Bills lose, and you're like, you know what? We have a chance again. But you're like, then but nobody wants to buy into it. We're like, nope, never going to work. We know the same old Jets. The same old Jets win a game like this because they give us that blind, that hope again. This is the kind of game they win, dude. I'm telling you. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe they won this game. Then they get blown up by a Dolphin.
It feels like that. Kind of like the Eagle game a little bit.
Yep. When you count them out, they win, and when you have faith in them, they lose. That's how it usually works for the Jets, right?
Yeah,
that's usually how it works.
It does, dude. It does, and it's like you said, bro. Like 2 AFC East opponents back to back.
Yep.
Like the world's at the Jets' fingertips. You know what I'm saying? Like it's right in front of you. You just have to go out and take it. Of course, it's a lot easier said than done, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Anything more that you wanted to add?
Well, what's your level of confidence on a scale of 1 to 10? They find a way to get the upset on Sunday.
I'll go 6 out of 10.
There you go.
6 out of 10. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it might be an ugly win.
Yeah.
But I'll go above 500 for sure.
Yeah, me too.
I
have that same weird feeling, dude. I just have that. And yeah, I just they find a way. I don't know how. It may not be pretty, maybe like a yuck fest, 17-16. I don't care, but I think they find a way to win this, and we'll be happy and we'll be relieved, because the other option of losing is going to be this show will be a disaster and everything else, because we're going to be angry.
Yeah, no, we'll see how it plays out, man. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us if you're all good on your end.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, I love Ian. We're good friends. Last night, I was just busting everybody's chops because everybody was like, "He's so negative." I'm like, "No, he's not negative. We're good. We're rallying him around." So, but no, this is like therapy for me, man. Like I feel so much better getting it all out because it's been bottled up inside of me, so I can get all this like Jets anger out of me now. I feel better.
So I noticed, like, when we do, because some stuff has been kind of popping up these past couple of weeks. So we've been having to film a little later on. Yep. Within the week, Wednesday, Thursdays, and stuff. I've noticed we're a lot calmer when we're I guess after losses, when we take a couple days.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like coming, like, that's kind of we talked about this. So that's kind of like the point of the podcast, is just be real, be honest, talk about how we're feeling, current state of the Jets and everything like that. And I want it to stay that way, but it's kind of interesting. Like, if they lose Sunday, we're filming Monday. We are. Oh yeah, 100%.
We're not holding back on that one.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I appreciate everybody hanging out, sticking around. I think this is over an hour. Yeah, hour and 2 minutes. So yeah, no, thank you. It means so much. Like, I always have a blast. Always look forward to doing the podcast episodes, and I can speak for Tyson too here. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.